Minutes past 8.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
Yeah, let's talk issues of the day, and let's talk about travelling with T-Radar as well. T-Radar, good morning.
Well, good morning to you. Back safe and sound from out there in the world.
Yes, Borneo, I believe.
Yes, Borneo. I survived a leech attack to my groinal region and being charged by a pygmy elephant.
Holy cow.
Sounds embarrassing, but they're actually sort of just like ordinary elephants, except it wasn't a female one. A female pygmy elephant apparently charges at you backwards and tries to nudge you with her rump, which that would have just been humiliating.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, back to the leeches. What were you doing wading through? I mean, I wouldn't put a foot into water in places like that.
Well, actually, they're in the bush. So there's the water leeches, and then there's the land leeches. And so when you walk across the land in the damp jungle, they latch onto you. But I had a special pair of leech socks, which is essentially like a glorified pillowcase that you put inside your shoes, and you tie it up around your knee level, and it sort of stops them from getting into your shoe area. But they're quite tenacious.
Yeah,
they'll climb on. I actually ended up with one on my arm that I didn't notice until it had done its job, and I looked. Actually, the cameraman went, "Hey, your arm's bleeding," and there was sort of blood all over the shirt. And I went, "Oh, I've been leeched."
Actually, you can actually say it for once. You can say, "What a leech," or what a
leech, exactly. They're pretty awesome things, the way they sort of move. But
don't they expand? They expand. They blow up, don't they? Right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And they basically move. They've got like a sucker at one end, and their little nose goes out, and they kind of they sort of staple along. For the benefit of anyone on Skype, I'm doing an example of that there. But if you're listening on the radio, absolutely of no benefit to you whatsoever.
Like a caterpillar, sort of.
Like a caterpillar. Oh, sort of like a caterpillar, but more like it moves end to end, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can be quite quick. I tried to. One was racing up my trouser legs to my groinal region. I was trying to sort of go and get rid of it, but it made it there before I flicked it away.
You didn't need to get out the salt?
No, I didn't need that. Apparently, you sort of just you can use like a knife and sort of flick them off. And I thought, do I have to take up smoking and burn them off with cigarettes? But apparently not. A lot of that's sort of a bit of a myth. But yeah, salt, cigarettes, knife, you sort of flick them off. But once you get used to them.
Well, I've sort of now got this impression of you going through the Bornean jungle, in your camo gear and your knife, gritted between your teeth, wading through these rivers and whatnot. I don't know what you're doing there, but that's the impression I have.
It sounds glamorous like that, but it's not. Like a sort of a flabby Schwarzenegger, minus the children, minus the hordes of children that that you've fathered to various women. No, not like that at all. It sounds rough, but it was fine.
So,
get a chance to see it in August.
Borneo
and then China,
yeah.
which was. Have you ever been to China?
No.
Oh, absolutely mind-boggling. Yeah, not at all what I expected. Very sort of Beijing in particular, incredibly cosmopolitan, not crowded, wonderful. There was a wonderful area called the Hutong with all these bars and restaurants, which makes the viaduct look like Huntley on a Wednesday night. Just absolutely fantastic. I strongly recommend visits to China.
I saw a great little doco just the other night, just a wee snapshot of life in China, but the fact that people can now live in one city but work in the other because of the bullet trains. The bullet trains take like huge distances for 45 minutes, and it's like a commute in Auckland, except you're actually travelling a long distance in a short amount of time.
At sort of 200 kilometres an hour, yeah. And I was talking to a businessman I met at the airport, and he said there was one that was going at 200 kilometres an hour, and they're just about to open one up, I think, that'll go at about 300 kilometres an hour. So, yeah, absolutely astounding. I guess if you've got that mass of people, you can sort of afford to put in a train and have them move around everywhere. But, to go to whatever it is that they do. I certainly saw some jobs that I wouldn't like having myself, on production lines. And it was kind of interesting, when we look at what we do here in New Zealand, those we still have production lines and things, but for the most part they've kind of gone, and you think, oh, who'd ever do that? But when you think back to all those production line jobs we had in factories and at freezing works and all of that, we actually did them for generations.
Yeah.
And now they've just sort of moved off to places where you can get people to put a single part into a thing a lot cheaper than it can happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then you think, with all those people in China doing that, there is a great deal of affluence as well. They're going to want that affluence. And what's going to happen when when I guess they want to earn enough to not do that, and so the wages will maybe go up, and then the work will have to move somewhere else. It's
Back
quite astounding.
Back here in New Zealand, we will be the ones working in the factories.
Exactly,
Yeah.
or the rice paddies of Canterbury when they've come over here and taken all the water to grow rice, because there's a lot of talk. China's got such a long-term kind of vision. I've met quite a few people in the past who've said they've been talking to Chinese businessmen and stuff who've come over and they've been looking at New Zealand as a resource because we've got water. I think we've got the third best source of water in the world after, I think, Norway and Greenland or somewhere like that. So yes, here we are thinking, oh, we've got all this wonderful natural resource, and they're going, yes, you have. It's your water. We're rich in water.
Yeah, not surprised. Now, a lot is said about China, about their growing emissions and whatnot, but they're also world leaders in green technology. Did you see any of that there?
I didn't. Well, actually, I did. I went over to an eco light bulb factory. So they're making eco light bulbs, and they're designed by some people in Christchurch, and they sort of co-own a factory over there. So there's certainly it has that side to it. But when you go to Beijing and that grey sort of murk hangs down, and you can see about a kilometre, you think, yeah, they've got to do something. So certainly they, they say that if anyone needs to make a difference, it's going to be China, and I'm sure they're going hell for leather to do it. And the thing about there is they can sort of do it. Like I interviewed James Hansen over the weekend, who was one of the gurus of climate change, and his big thing, he sat there in this room with the town hall with all the Greens and all the sort of the eco activists and people like that talking, and he said what this country needs to do. He said, because he's a big advocate of nuclear, he said, particularly third and fourth generation plants, but he said New Zealand doesn't need that. He said what you need is you need more hydro dams, more wind farms, you need turbines and your tidal turbines in your harbours. And I kind of sat there thinking, you mean the things that a lot of the people in this room have been protesting about, and saying, oh, we don't actually want that. So I think that within that green movement, there's going to have to be a big question of, say, what actually is it that we need? And part of that may be that we don't need as much because we need to actually save on the amount of energy that we use with shower nozzles and eco bulbs and various other sort of conservation measures.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to lots of community projects, lots of local, either it'll be local hydro, local solar, local wind, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And even then, you got to. I think Germany, which is at the forefront of renewables, I think only 7% of its power comes from sort of renewable energy. So, if they're the world leaders and they're only really getting that much, so I guess we'll have to face that dilemma probably in the very near future, I would imagine. Now, unless we all cut back on our usage.
That's right. Now, it can't be issues of the day with T-Radar without at least one issue. And what has struck you as being the biggest issue in New Zealand since you returned home from overseas?
Look, you come back and you go overseas and you're dealing with palm oil and you're dealing with, and huge environmental issues and labour things in China and all of that. And you come back and what is plaguing New Zealand? What has got people hot under the collar? A sign advocated by a private company to advertise a city that people in the city don't like. Or maybe people in the city do like it. Opinion is divided, obviously, about the Wellywood sign. And you think, good God, Is that what's heating us up with all of the other things that are going on? And I see that on the Facebook pages, there's about 17,000 people who have signed up on the We Don't Like It, and about 10,000 who have signed up on the We Do Like It. So that's 27,000 people who have gone out of their way to click something on a Facebook page to go, we agree or disagree with this Wellywood sign. And you think, is it really? You're really that upset about it? I enjoy the kerfuffle because anything that upsets people in Wellington causes me a great deal of pleasure.
You can't help, though, but feel just a little bit passionate about it just because it is so dicky. It is so...
It is pretty dicky. Yeah, it is, And there's been some really good ways of protesting about it. I mean, obviously, it's been put up by the airport company, and they're saying, look, we'd like to brand Wellington as this Wellywood thing. And I thought Wellington... I see now. Look how pervasive it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say Wellington, but my mind and my tongue went to say Wellywood. It's already in there.
It's in there.
So maybe the
Sold.
scientists just reinforcing the things that we say.
Yeah.
But it's got its film industry and all of that, and I thought they were sort of proud of that, but apparently not. It isn't. What's wrong with the Mosgiel sign? Same kind of thing up on the hill, Mosgiel. Lovely.
It's being likened. It is being likened to some of the other great icons around the country. The trout and the salmon and the carrot and whatnot.
Like
it's not anything like that at all, is it?
It's not like the trout. It's not. What's the other good ones? The corrugated iron dog.
That's right.
Or is it a sheep? What is it?
The last great controversy around something like this, I remember when Pleasant Point wanted to put a custard square down at the entrance to their little township for the Den Heath custard squares, but I don't think that ended up happening. You're on the move, T-Radar. What are you doing?
Sorry. Look at that. Halfway through, I had to answer a courier. Thank you. There he is. It's modern technology doing its thing. Halfway through, we were discussing issues of the day, and a courier turned up with a parcel. Yeah. Sorry, Wammo.
Oh.
There you go. For the benefit of Skype, people can just now have a guided tour of my lounge and see what it was that was happening.
Very nice. All right.
No, look, there's good protest. Look, if you don't like it, as someone suggested, I think it was Daniel McLaughlin on Dim Post, you can go to the Wellington airport and you can say to all the people in the shop, can I talk to your manager, please? And when the manager comes, okay, look, I wouldn't normally buy something, but you're part of this sort of, the Wellington airport complex. So if you tell the bosses here that no one's buying anything, maybe they'll the commercial realities of that will have them not put the sign up and they can think of something far more original.
Indeed. T-Radar, we'll leave you to open up your parcel. Could be like Christmas morning there at T-Radar's house.
All right, and we'll speak again at some stage in the future.
We certainly will. Thanks. See ya.